guys, it's Katie. I have been inspired by Sana over at Books and Quills to show you some of my favourite spines, so I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to start off with the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. I've got this book and the hardback of Hollow City. I know these books don't actually line up correctly because one of them's hardback and one of them's paperback, but you can actually see what they're trying to do with these books in themselves in the way that they actually line up together. And I really like the idea of the gold motifs on the brown, because brown you'd usually think of as a really kind of boring colour. That's something that you wouldn't necessarily pick, but paired with the gold it definitely brings something out of it, and it adds to the kind of vintage feel, as these little motifs on the side as well kind of resonate what's in the book itself. People that have read this will actually know what I'm talking about. Like, the era that part of it is set is quite vintage as such, so these kind of little motifs on the bottom and the tops of the spine actually make sense with the book itself. And it kind of reminds me of old classic books as well, with the little top and bottom designs. They tended to outline the spine rather than to actually decorate them in full, from what I've actually seen. But I just generally think that these spines are really beautiful, really simple, and just really stylistic more than anything. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This spine is actually really different because of the fact that it's rounded rather than square, because a lot of the books that I own are just like flat, 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 so it's more of a rectangular book, but this is a more of a kind of rounded one as well, and I think that adds to the prettiness of the design because of the fact that it's something really different to what I normally own. But with regards to the actual design on the spine itself, I really enjoy the typography on this. It's a normal sans serif text, but it looks as though it's been left out in the rain, as there are actually smudges, and you can see where the ink looks as though it has run from the rain or the water that's been splashed on it. And I like the way that part of the front and back designs have actually kind of overlapped onto the spine itself. I really enjoy it when books do that, but I think the idea that this has actually got a rounded spine rather than a square spine kind of adds to that a little bit more. So it looks as though the kind of design is running all the way around rather than front, side, back. I mean, I know they do look as though they're running all the way around like that. It kind of adds to the detail of it as well, I believe. Leviathan by Westerfeld. I'm not quite sure how well you're going to see this because of the shiny text. I just love the boldness of the text. I love the way that it actually takes up the whole of the spine and it fits really well with it. And I believe that the kind of silver adds something different to it. I think that any kind of silver or gold accent makes the design of something stand out a hell of a lot more. But I just love the way that the text takes up the whole of the spine, and it doesn't necessarily need anything of design because of the fact that sometimes typography is just all you need. And to be honest, seeing this book in a shop would just draw me to it straight away, because I wouldn't need to kind of double look at what it's called. I'd know straight away what it's called, and even the text of the author is big enough that you can read just on the spot like that. Sometimes bold, eye-catching typography can be just as good as some nicely designed spine. Unnatural Creatures by Gaiman. I know I've said before that I'm actually drawn to books by the cover, but the first thing that you typically see when you're looking in a bookshop is the spine, and for a spine to be exactly the same design as the front cover is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. A lot of books don't actually have the space to be able to do this, but I'm so glad that this one, because of the fact that it's quite a hefty book and has got the space to do it, has taken the opportunity to putting a part of the front cover onto the spine, because the front cover is absolutely beautiful as it is to start off with, but it's taken the whole idea of the unnatural creature at the bottom and at the top with the eyes that you can see there, and the fur of the creature is actually intertwining with the text, which looks itself quite eroded and rugged as it is. And I love anything to do with typography and intertwining design and typography and like making them mesh together, as I think that that's absolutely wonderful and lovely in the way that text can be part of the design. It doesn't necessarily need to be something on a completely different spectrum. It doesn't need to be design and then there's text on top. I love it when both of them are combined together. I think that that's absolutely stunning. And with regards to the kind of rugged, eroded text, there's also a gradient that does go with the eroded text feel as well, in the way that it's going from black to red, and I feel as though that adds a sense of mystery to it, because generally red, when paired with black, kind of gives the impression expression of mystery or kind of deaths or kind of creepiness in a way. Sometimes colour can actually intrigue you into wondering what this book is all about and what the stories are about. Colour does say a lot, as much as people don't think. Colour can just be seen as something that makes something look pretty, but sometimes colour is actually the thing that depicts the mood of the book, and I feel as though the mood of this book would be quite dark and sinister, and sometimes colour just makes me want to pick up something more, and I think this is actually what drew me to this book in the first place. So those are some of my favourite covers so far. I'm sure there are loads more out there that I'm gonna find absolutely stunning, but that was just a selection for now, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!